Mrs. Weasley and Ginny went to. They went to a shop that sold second-hand robes. Mr. Weasley insisted on taking Mr. and Mrs. Granger to the Leaky Cauldron and having a drink together. Mrs. Weasley said to the others before leaving. "In an hour, everyone get to Flourish and Blatt's bookstore so we can buy your school books." Then he shouted at the twins in a threatening manner. "If your feet reach Knockturn Alley, I know, and so do you too." Harry, Ron, and Hermione walked along the winding cobblestone street. The gold, silver, and bronze coins in Harry's bag were jingling as if they were screaming for Harry to spend them. So Harry bought 3 large strawberry and peanut butter ice creams. The 3 of them ate their ice creams with gusto, and as they walked down the street, they looked at the interesting and spectacular shop windows. Ron had been staring longingly at a single Chudley Cannon's robe in the window of the finest Quidditch supplies store, when Hermione took them to the next shop to buy ink and parchment. In the Wizarding Joke Shop, they saw Fred, George, and Lee Jordan. They were fascinated by the safe and wonderful fireworks of Dr. Filibuster too. In a small, rickety shop filled with broken wands, scrap brass scales, and old cloaks stained with potion drops, they found Percy engrossed in a small, boring book called Senior Students Who Achieved Power. Ron read the back cover of the book out loud. "It's very interesting to examine Hogwarts senior students and their future careers." Percy said angrily, "Go pay card." As they walked away from Percy, Ron said quietly to Harry and Hermione. "Percy is very ambitious, he has a lot planned for his future, he wants to become Minister of Magic." An hour later they went to Flourish and Blatt's bookstore. They were not the only ones who intended to go to the bookstore. When they approached there, they were surprised to see a crowd gathered in front of the bookstore door, wanting to get in. The reason for this gathering was indicated by a large placard posted above the shop window. It read, "Gilderoy Lockhart. Today from 12:30 to 4:30 p.m., he will be signing copies of his autobiography, My Magical Self." Hermione screamed and said, "Wow, we can see that he wrote all our books this year." Most of the people crowding in front of the bookstore were witches of the same age and they were Mrs. Weasley's year. A sorceress who looked annoyed was standing in front of the door and saying, "Ladies, please slow down, don't push, come in, be careful of the books." Harry, Ron, and Hermione forced their way into the bookstore. A long, winding line stretched all the way to the back of the store, where Gilderoy Lockhart was signing books. They each had a copy of Overcoming the Deathly Hallows, and they crept to the front of the line and stood with the rest of the Weasley family and Mr. and Mrs. Granger. Mrs. Weasley, who was fidgeting and constantly tidying up, said, "Are you here? Well, you've arrived on time. We'll see you in a minute." Gradually, Gilderoy Lockhart came into view. He was among the pictures. A large figure of himself was sitting there. All his images were flashing non-stop to the crowd. And they laughed, showing off their white, shining teeth. The real Lockhart wore a blue robe that matched his eyes, his pointed wizard's hat perched curiously on his curly hair. A short, grumpy man with a large black camera was walking around taking pictures of him. With each flash of the camera, a thick purple smoke rose into the air through the crowd. The photographer stepped back so he could get a better shot and said angrily to Ron, "Get out of my way, I'm taking pictures for today's message." Ron cleaned his shoe, which the photographer had kicked, and said sarcastically, "What happiness!" Gilderoy Lockhart heard his voice. He looked up. His eyes fell on Ron, and then he saw Harry and stared at him. Then he jumped up and said confidently, "Look who's here, Harry Potter." The crowd, chattering excitedly, made way for him. Lockhart rushed forward, took Harry's hand, and pulled him towards the front of the crowd. The crowd cheered them on enthusiastically. Harry's face was flushed, and Lockhart shook hands with Harry in front of the photographer, who was staring wildly at him. They were taking pictures, sending purple smoke from their camera at the Weasleys. Laughing, showing his gleaming white teeth, Lockhart said to Harry, "Smile properly, Harry, the picture of you and me together will make the front page of the newspaper." When Lockhart finally let go of Harry's hand, Harry's fingers were numb. Harry wanted to slowly back away and join the Weasleys when Lockhart put his arm around her shoulders and held her close. Then he motioned for the crowd to be quiet and said in a loud voice, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is truly a unique and exceptional moment. Now is the perfect opportunity for me to share something with everyone." Today, when dear Harry entered the bookstore, he just wanted to buy my autobiography, and I am so happy that I can give it to him myself. The cheers of the crowd rose again. Lockhart shook Harry, causing his glasses to slide down the tip of his nose, and continued. Little did he know that he would be getting much more than just a book of magical mysteries. Harry Potter and his schoolmates would be getting their hands on the real magical mysteries. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to inform you that from September this year I will be the defense against the dark arts teacher at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. The crowd applauded him enthusiastically. Harry received a complete set of Lockhart's works and, staggering under the weight of the books, he moved away from the crowd and went to the corner of the bookstore where Ginny was standing next to her cauldron. Harry put the books in the cauldron and whispered to her, "These are yours. I'll buy them for myself." Then he heard a voice and immediately recognized it. He said, "Potter, I bet you really enjoyed this, didn't you?" Harry stood up straight and faced Malfoy, who had his usual grin on his face. Malfoy said, "If the famous Harry Potter even sets foot in a bookstore, his picture will be on the front page of the newspaper." Ginny said, "Leave him alone, he didn't go forward on his own."